Hello everybody, Kirk here with Ink and Impulse, and let's just see what's new in the fountain pen, ink, and stationery world for me this week. Oh, well, here comes the Impulse part of my channel. I do have quite a few things to share from this week. Here's a sneak peek of all the things. Lots of samples, and I don't know if you can see down in here a little bit, but I do also have some pens. Alright, let's just get started. The first thing I got was this little mixing bowl and pipette kit. I got this from Amazon. Unfortunately, I couldn't really find a comparable product anywhere else, but I wanted to make sure that these bowls would last a while, and getting the metal ones just made sense to me. And I also liked how there was a pour spout here, so when I'm mixing inks and doing my custom mixes, to be able to have this spout to where I can pour it into either a sample vial or a jar is really nice. And then also being able to have some of these as well. Now, it's not going to be super exact, but I will be mixing by drop for the most part to get that ratio right. And then yeah, we can do some more mixing from there if we really want to be super precise. We can get some more tools for that. But I think for my purposes only, and that's just homegrown ink mixes, I think this will be just fine. And of course, these are plastic pipettes, but they will be used over and over and over. Before we get into the inks, which are the majority of what I acquired this week, I did get 3 pens, and we'll just start with these. So the first pen that I got is this Pilot Kakuno, or Kakuno, and I've never had one of these. I only got the medium because I believe that's the biggest size that they had at the time. I also got a converter for it, I believe. One second. So this was the converter that was recommended, I believe. So hopefully this works. We will figure that out once we swatch some inks and figure out what we want to ink this guy up with. And so this color is the gray, and it's the medium nib. So I'm going to figure out how to open this, and I will be right back. So the box was very easy to open, which I appreciate. I didn't have to destroy the box, which I was concerned with, being that it was like just a plastic box. I do like to keep the boxes for my pens. Like I mentioned before, I do move a lot, and I also like to have the box for if I decide to ever sell a pen, then I can give them the person the original box. Now, as you can see here, I do put lotion on my hands, and we are getting some fingerprinting on this shiny gray, beautiful gray color plastic, but it doesn't bother me too much, since the gray is like an opalescent or an opal kind of milky color. And so I do like that this is just a snap top. And as you can see, the iconic little smiley face, some people think that it's a little too juvenile, and I can understand that, especially with something as like traditional as a fountain pen, but I'm willing to give it a try. and it's only me that really sees that smiley face, so I think I'm okay with it. Next up is a pen that I've been having my eye on for a while, and I saw it in a video this week and I just knew that I had to add it to my collection. If you don't know, I am, number one, a green lover. So this is the Twsbi Eco in Matcha Green. And I have so many inks that I think would pair perfectly with this. And not just one or two, many different inks that I could constantly keep this inked up with a green color. So I don't necessarily always have to have my fountain pens match the ink that they have. Oftentimes they don't. But this one, I do have this color in a lot of different inks, and so I thought that this would be perfect. I did get this in a broad, and I appreciate their labels because for the most part they just peel off. So keep that on the back. She's so pretty. She's just as nice in person. Here is that beautiful matcha green. It's stunning. I'm very happy with this color in person. It is exactly the color that I hoped it would be, and I'm so pleased. I love Twsbis. I love every single Twsbi model that I've tried, and so I am definitely a Twsbi person, especially over Lamy. Lamy and I are not great friends, but Twsbi for you know, 30 to 60, so like they're like $35 to $55. You can get one and choose the nib that you like right off the bat. So I'm a broad and stub kind of girl, and so if I want a Lamy, I have to buy the base pen for the most part, and then normally I will have to buy the interchangeable nib, which is like another, you know, $12, and I appreciate that you can do that. That's really cool. But then it brings the price up to a, you know, a higher end or like a mid-end Twsbi, which I would rather just purchase the Twsbi because I like the writing experience better myself. But I like the look of the Lamy, but the Twsbi has my heart. Okay, so the last pen that I got is the Onyx and Plum, and this is going to be in a broad nib as well. And when I saw this color, I had to have it. It was beautiful, perfect. A lot of the Twsbi Eco colors that come out, I sit on for a while and make sure that I really want them. Like my, I believe it was like the marble one, the one that looks like white and gray, the Carrera. I believe that's what the color was called. Carrera or Carrara with Onyx, which I love that one. I've been using that one pretty much every day. And so the matcha one that you saw was a price of $35.99. Now this guy is the Plum with Onyx, so the steel nib is a different color, but it's the same pen, and it's $55.99, so $20 difference. Do I believe that it warrants a $20 change in price? I don't, but as you can see, and I don't know if I noticed this before, but the boxes are even different. And so I don't know if this is the same. I'd have to check my boxes. If the 35, you know, area price range Eco comes in this type of cardboard box, and the higher end or the more expensive ones come in this box. But this has a nice gold foiling to it. And well, it's like a coppery rose gold foiling. And let's just look at the pen. It is nice to have a nice box when you keep the boxes, but otherwise it's not really an issue. but you have the same inner box. That's what it looks like to me. The same red cardstock and the same items inside. This is so pretty though. Oh my goodness. So here we have the Plum and Onyx. You can already see my fingerprints on there, unfortunately. The Plum and Onyx Twsbi Eco in a broad nib. Again, you get that Onyx nib, which is a nice touch. It's very pretty. I have a lot of inks that are a dark red, dark plum that I would feel really nice having in this pen. Perfect for fall, in my opinion. I really like both of the colors that I got. Unfortunately, I didn't pull the trigger on the Serpentine one, which I've had on my list for such a long time. It is, I think, the most expensive one on here at $58.99, but it is beautiful, and I've seen it in person as well. When I was in Maryland, I went to a pen shop there and I saw it in person. It was beautiful. So first in the sample world, I'm sure you saw all the samples that I got. These are actually from a coworker who is also into fountain pens, so I got lucky there. So I did get 2 of Noodler's Tokyo Gift, 2 of Noodler's Australian Roses, and I believe 2 of Diamine Moon Dust, and then 1 of Ferris Will Press Glistening Glass. So the ones that I have, the Moon Dust I had before. I'm so happy to have these 2 samples because I am almost out of mine, and I went to go buy the Moon Dust on Goulet Pens and it's out of stock. That's so unfortunate. Australian Roses is another just beautiful, like a dark rosy plum that would be perfect for that new Twsbi that I got. And then I don't even know what this color is, so let's just go ahead and get our dots ready for these swatches. So if you're not familiar with the dots that I use for the top of my swatches, I use the Avery 1/2 inch round matte white, and this is the template number, I guess, for your printer, but this is what I use. So as you can see, I've already swatched Tokyo Gift from before. I already have a sample of it, but it's always nice to get another beautiful red. And so I will be doing Australian Roses here. And these are my reds and pinks to an extent, but I think that some of them overlap with my purples. Like this one, I think would go well in purple. So I'll probably end up adding a gumball swatch in my purples as well, but for this purpose, these are my pinks and reds. So here's Noodler's Australian Roses. I have a Kakimori nib on here. That's gorgeous. I remember this was probably the first, I think it was the first ink that I ever used. And I remember how beautiful it was, and it's still stunning right now. It is an absolute perfect match for that pen. Just to bring the pen over that'll probably be the winner. Even though it's not a new ink to me, it is a very nice one. Here's that sample all dried down, and it's just so beautiful and rich, and it competes with me for one of my favorites, which is the Writer's Blood from Diamine, and I know a lot of people like that. I think the thing that attracts me to Writer's Blood is being a writer and knowing how much you pour yourself into writing. I like the name of it, and I like the dark red color, but if you're looking at just color, you take the name out of it. In my opinion, this is probably prettier. It's just there's such a depth there that it's hard to explain. Next one we have is Ferris Press Glistening Glass, and there's some shimmer, so I'm gonna lightly go back and forth. So it's all dry. Excuse me, I did accidentally hit my finger on this one, but this is a nice grayish blue with a golden shimmer. It did seem to run a little dry. There's not a lot of shading from what I can see. And so one of my favorite blues, I'm not a big bright blue kind of person, and so one of my favorite blues is actually right here and right here. This one is a beautiful shader if you like shading inks. I mean, this is just stunning. This one is also so great. It actually goes down like a little bit purpley, and then it dries this beautiful silvery blue. And so it kind of looks like this without the shading, with a little bit of golden shimmer. So I'm glad that I have a sample of this. So thank you for that sample if you're watching. The next one is definitely my favorite silver shimmer of all time so far, and that's the Diamine Moon Dust. I mean, this is a crazy, and it works so well in pens. Like, if you're a broad person, I'm using mine in a broad right now, and it's working so nicely. I do have problems with some inks with a lot of shimmer that still clog up a broad or a stub, and this one doesn't. It's so beautiful. It's the best. And I can't believe I haven't swatched it yet. if you guys know where to get a full bottle of this, or if you have a full bottle and you don't want it, I will trade you or buy it off of you. Here is our beautiful Diamine Moon Dust, my favorite silver ink so far in my journey. It's just so pretty. There's some shading, there's some shimmer, lots of shimmer, and it just works really well in pens. So I've swatched the samples that my friend gave me, and now I will go over the full bottles of ink that I got and swatch those as well. And then I think I'll show you my samples and then save those for another day, because this video is getting very long. Although I would love to watch a 2-hour swatching video. Let me know down in the comments if you'd love that as well. But I think I will just stick with the full bottles for now. And so I did get 3 from the Birmingham Pen Company. The first one that I got was Pumpkin Twinkle. The second one is Corn Cob Twinkle. And the third one that I've been waiting on for a very long time is Firebox. And if you can't see, I already have opened this and I spilled it everywhere, of course, but I've been waiting on this so long, I couldn't help but break into it. So here are the two swatches we just did. Pumpkin Twinkle here, and then Corncob Twinkle. These dried pretty fast, but that's because I feel like they absorb into the paper really quickly because I have played with these already in some fountain pens and they bleed and feather like nobody's business. So I will show you a sample. So I got these guys in yesterday, and this is a Hobonichi Cousin from 2025. So again, not the paper that you probably love, but it is still some paper that we're familiar with. And up here we have the Birmingham Pen Company Pumpkin Twinkle. And as you can see, the bleeding is wild, and so is it for the Corncob Twinkle. Now down here, the Firebox works perfectly well, and we'll get to that swatch in a minute, but oh my goodness, I have never seen, even with BPC's inks, I've never seen feathering and bleeding like I'm seeing here. So let's go to the opposite side, and I even made like a little comment on it. Like for this paper, it's crazy. It's crazy, crazy, crazy. And it actually bleeds through and feathers on like really thick paper as well. I did a lot of tests yesterday to see where this ink could be acceptable, and I think it's only going to be workable on like watercolor paper, because for me, I can't do this. And especially I could deal with the bleed through because I would just tape the two papers together, but I can't do the feathering, and that's what I'm seeing a lot of. The feathering, it's one of my, I can't do it. And I love BPC, I love them so much, and I don't know how I'm going to be able to use these inks. I really don't. So just know, like on this channel, I will try to be as honest as possible. A lot of this stuff I pay with my own money, and so I just want to be upfront and honest as possible. And so these may be those inks that we use in an art project, right? And it's not going to be like an everyday type of ink. And that's a little upsetting, only because I love the colors so much. I think they're beautiful. But I just I can't do the feathering. So just so you guys can see what I do here, I do a pen test, an ink test for every ink that I try to use in my planner in the back. And it's just like this little area that says graph paper, but I'm not going to use it for graphing, so might as well just use it for ink testing. And the ones with the X's beside of it are just ones that I just cannot use. The ones with like half of an X is like maybe, but you'll see here because of the bleeding. And the last two that we have here, as you can see, they still bleed. So that onion flower twinkle, that purple that we have from BPC, also bleeds through. Cistern bleeds through, and so does that Sailor 435, which I love the color of, but I can't do it. I can do ghosting, I cannot do bleeding for the most part, and I definitely can't do feathering. So in the pen here, it worked okay. There was a little less feathering, but the bleed through was very, very severe, more than most of my inks, as you can see. So this is where the impulse side of my channel comes in, and if you didn't know, I am late diagnosed ADHD. I got diagnosed when I'm almost 40, and it has changed my life. I understand myself so much better. I find ways, you know, I don't use it as a crutch. I find ways that like now myself makes sense. But with that comes a little bit of impulse, and especially later on in the night when certain medications wear off, right? And this is going to be one of those impulse things. I am going to insert another full bottle that I bought because it is orange, an orange ink, and yeah, I just want to put this on the page before we swap over to our red pages. And this is an ink that I have been fangirling over for months now, and honestly, a lot of these inks from Wearingeul. This looks to be a Korean brand, which is cool. I love K-pop. I love all of Korean food, so this is just a nice little addition here to the Korean love. I actually have a Korean cookbook that I like to go through, and she's a YouTuber on here, so if you like Korean food, I will link her down below so you can learn how to cook some Korean food. But I want to go ahead and swatch this. I am so excited to see this. I think this will be the second Wearingeul ink that I have ever tried, so let's get into it. So here's what that looks like, all dried down. It is so pretty. I don't see a lot of like this purpley pink shimmer, at least not in my collection. As you can see here on my orange page, I don't have anything like this with that purpley orange shimmer, and I love it so much. This burnt copper, pumpkin, like dark, rich orange with the beautiful, bright, shimmery purple is just so pretty, and I can't wait to try it. With those of you wondering, this is the bleed through. So it looks like the Star Child is also bleeding through, not as much as our other ones, as you can see, but we'll have to test it out in a pen and see if there's bleed through. I don't see any feathering here, and I actually don't see too much feathering with the other ones on this paper. I do see it right there, but that's a pretty thick print. here is Firebox, all dried down. So it's definitely red, but it leans orange, and I love that. When I saw the swatch of this on their website, I just thought it was so beautiful. So as you can see, in Noodler's is a blue-red, a true blue-red. This is more of an orange-red with a little bit of rust, a little bit of brick. And so this looks really, really beautiful. I already have this inked up in a pen, and I love how it writes. Let's look on the back here so you can see Noodler's and BPC's bleed through. A little bit of bleed through on the swatch. That's to be expected. There was a tiny bit of bleed through here on the B, but I think that's because I was really globbed up on the B. The Kakimori nib is a little hard to work with, at least the one that I have, and I just can't get the same effect out of mine as a lot of people do, and so I don't know if mine is defective or I just don't know how to use it properly, but I am looking to get the rose gold or copper nib because from what I saw that it was a little bit softer, a little bit more generous with the ink flow, and that's what I would like to see. The next two inks I have are in the blue family, and they're actually very similar in color. So let's compare these two. This is Noodler's Blue Nose Bear and Diamine Celadon Cat. So here are the inks. I thought they were going to be so much more similar than they are. I absolutely love Celadon Cat, which I thought I would not like. And the Blue Nose Bear I actually like a little less than I thought. In true Noodler's fashion, the bottle was filled up all the way to the top, so just know that. So you get an incredible deal with Noodler's ink, but let's look at the, oh my gosh. I even got a little on this other page. Oh my gosh, look at the bleed through. Oh man, there's a little bit here, but I think that's probably due to my pen or the Kakimori Nib. But that is insane. I've never seen one like that saturated. And I was wondering because when I looked here, I see so much feathering, some bleeding, right? And that's crazy. I wonder how it's going to perform in a pen. I haven't done any pen test yet, of course. But that's Celadon Cat and Blue Nose Bear. So these are my last two full-size bottles, and we have the Diamine Winter Miracle, and we have the Lamy Beryl ink. And if you think Beryl is familiar, but you're not quite sure, me being in the jewelry making world, I'm pretty familiar with Beryl. And some of our most famous Beryls are Emerald, which is a green tone, Aquamarine, which is like a blue to bluish green tone, and then our Morganite, which is our like peachish, pink, orange pink kind of Beryl. But there's also a red Beryl, which is kind of misleading because it leans pink, but it's like a raspberry color. So Beryl, here you go. And because this is called crystal ink, obviously that makes sense. The other ones in this line are also named after either semi-precious or crystals. So it's pretty cool how my two worlds are like crossing over. All right, you guys, so here are the two that we just swatched. We have Diamine Winter Miracle, which is very close to Lamy Dark Lilac with a bluer base and a blue sheen to it. So in all honesty, I would probably pick one or the other. And then we have Lamy Beryl, which is a nice raspberry blue, or raspberry purplish pink here. And there's a little bit of sheen there, but let me tell you guys, this one stinks. This one stinks really, really bad. And I don't know if it's just because it's old or what have you, but the only time I've ever had an ink stink is when I've been swatching Lamy inks, and I don't know what it is. It actually smells like mold. It smells like if you had, it brings me back to my childhood when I went skiing, and we had a lot of snow and our clothes got put up wet, and then the next time we opened our little chest with our clothes, it smelled very, very moldy, and that's what this smells like. Now, full disclosure, I had a friend let me borrow their Lamy Dark Lilac, and it smelled the exact same way. For some reason, I had ordered it at the same time they let me borrow it. Theirs smelled like mold, mine did not. So I don't know if Lamy just has a tendency to mold faster. I don't want to put any like claims out there. I don't know for sure, but all I do know is that this one has a crazy smell, and because of that, I don't think I can use it. Just simply, I have sensory issues when it comes to smells. Smells are like amplified to me, and so if I write with this and I smell that smell, I'm gonna be like, it takes all of the joy out of the writing, even if the color is gorgeous and it writes very well, because I find that a lot of Lamy inks are very like lubricated. They feel very smooth, and you know, that's what I like about them, but I can't do the smell. And so I think I will actually be contacting Goulet Pens just to see if they've come across this before and if it's something to worry about, but I just can't use this ink, unfortunately. Here is the bleed through. Only a little bit of bleed through on the swatch, none on the text, a little bit of ghosting, but that's pretty good. Lastly, here are the samples that I got, and as you can see, I have quite a few. There looks to be at least 5 or 6 per bag. This one has 8. So I'm just gonna go through them quickly. Let me know if you see your favorite ink in here. Alright guys, so here's what's new for me in the fountain pen ink stationery world this week, the week of Halloween. And so, yeah, we swatched our large bottles of ink, but we still have so many samples to get through, and I still have to test out my new pens. So be sure to look out for those videos in the short coming future. And let me know down in the comments which one you'd like to see first. Would you rather see swatches of ink, or would you rather see me do some pen reviews for the Twsbi and also the Kakuno, the Pilot Kakuno? Let me know. So I hope you guys had a very festive and fun week, and I hope you're having a relaxing weekend, and I hope to see you soon. I hope you're staying safe and well. See ya.